Hi, I'm Dustin Hoyt with America Our Way, and you can hear me right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio at 10/9 Central on Thursday nights. We bring you the best in political commentary from the right-wing, conservative, libertarian perspectives coming together and bringing the best content on the internet. Be sure to tune in every week for your favorite shows. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
A progressive woman once told me that if she was my wife, she'd poison my coffee. I told her if I was her husband, I'd drink it. This is Alan Bordius, host of Their Finest Hour, Monday nights here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
At Independent Journal Review, we publish news that is objective, fair, and entertaining. As one of the top websites in the United States, it's our duty to bring the absolute best to our readers. Readers like you. IJReview.com, your number one source for news and entertainment.
This is Kevin Jackson of the Blacksburg Radio Show. Listen to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
What's going on in your head? I think your brain is gone dead.
This is Lachlan Marquet of the Washington Free Beacon, and you are listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
The ad says he doesn't have a horse in this race, but Retractor knows he does. Now he's got egg on his face. The donkeys on the left got owned by a kid. They can say it was a crime, but Retractor knows what he did.
Welcome back to the show. You are listening to The Right Mics with Mike Miller and Michael Hausum. We have got only 30 minutes left of The Right Mics for 2014. So if you'd like to call in, please do 412-567-6879 on Twitter at The Right Mics. Mike, half hour left. What do you want to end this year talking about, man?
Well, again, like you and I do, that would take another 3 hours. But, I don't know, man. I mean, we can touch on stuff that we felt were the top stories of last year and why. If you want to hit that, we got a couple of other posts. What do you think?
I think that for me, the most significant thing. Well, you know what? At the beginning of the year, I had just a few articles posted at IJR and didn't actually officially come on board till February, March, April, something like that. I'd have to go back and see.
I was trying to remember that the other day when you joined us, but it was, so it's not been quite a year.
Yeah, I started my blog, mphouse.us, last August, a year ago August. And because Kyle was part of a private conservative Facebook group that I was part of, I started sending him some stuff that I was writing, and then IJR published it. And then he said, hey, man, why don't you start sending us stuff regularly, which I did. And then after a couple of months of that, he said, you know what, we want you on board.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
And the rest has been written down and will be talked about for eons to come, apparently.
Yes. Well, so so you look back, whether you posted on stuff or whatever have you. I mean, I don't know if you have stuff in front of you or, we just want to maybe talk about, some of the obvious things, but just stories this year, for whatever reason, that you say, yeah, this is pretty near the top? I mean, anything pop into your brain? I mean, what is some stuff?
Yeah, two things immediately pop into my brain. Number one was obviously the election a couple months ago, primarily because that was so recent. But then also throughout the year, the incredible number of horrible things that our administration had been involved in, most significantly to me. And I don't know if I want to use the word scandal, but and there are stories that have developed over the last, gosh, year and a half, and that is the continuing proof that a government-run healthcare system for our country is a nightmare. That would be one, and then the second thing, the IRS. That story has bothered me so much that it is. I mean, we would joke. Historically, we would joke that if you put something on Facebook or on Twitter that had a conservative political bent to it, that's been a long time joke. Oh, well, watch out, the IRS might come after you, something like that. Well, it's gone from being a joking thing, the IRS as a weapon of political destruction. It's gone from being a joking thing to something that's actually happened.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's back up the bus a bit because you just mentioned three, and those are certainly on my top list. You talked about the midterms, you talked about the disaster that is and will be continue to be Obamacare, and then the scandals. You know, be it the IRS, NSA, or whatever have you. But I kind of I don't know, did I? I guess I at least I think I ranked these things in my brain a bit, and I think. For various reasons, I think that I have to list what happened in the midterms as number one for a couple of reasons. Number one is that, as I said before, the Republicans did not win the midterms. They did not kick the Democrats' ass. Democrats kicked their own ass. This was a vote against Barack Obama and his policies, and it's really all of the above. You know, it's Obamacare, it's what has happened relative to the scandals, it's the economy, it's jobs, it's everything else, firmly rejected by this country. We always hear about, the Democrats being the populist party, but clearly America spoke. Again, and the second reason I think it's, in my mind, maybe the largest story is it gives the they didn't win anything. They won by forfeit, if you will. It gives the Republicans 2 unique years to prove that that they deserve to win in 2016. I have my doubts, Michael, in terms of if they're really going to do that or not.
Which we've talked about before, as evidenced by the Cromnibus.
Exactly. As long as you have the Boehner crowd running the House, we'll see what's going to happen in the Senate. But very not fired up about that. So I think that is huge. And
the whiplash between okay, awesome, and oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me, was staggering to me. I mean, I remember just exulting in the red tide, not just in the House continuing and the Senate, but also the governor's houses and the state houses across the country. I mean, I did a piece on that totally blew up, that just listed all of the, if not record, at least historical modern era record numbers for Republicans. And, maybe I just make the mistake oftentimes when I use the word Republican, I'm also meaning it to be synonymous with the word conservative. And maybe that's a mistake on my part.
Well, I think it is, and I think it's a mistake on anyone's part because I think you and I know each other well enough, we would love if they were synonymous. And of course, we know when you look, from John Boehner to Ted Cruz, there's a whole lot of daylight in between. But man, you're exactly right. You look at the South. How long has it been since you have every Southern governor, you have every Southern legislature, you have every Southern senator, representative, the Republicans? I mean, that's been a long time since that happened. So again, I think there's an historic opportunity here over the next couple of years for the Republicans to finally not just be, the supposed party of no, as the Democrats paint them, but be the party of yes. Here's what we want to do, and communicate that very clearly. And of course, one of those things is about the second thing you said was a huge story, and that's about Obamacare. It can't just be about we got to repeal Obamacare. We got to repeal Obamacare. It's what are we going to replace it with if that happens that works? And dude, Obamacare just continued to be a disaster this year.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm not sure if there are any things that are happening with Obamacare that are anywhere near as promised or as hoped for. And here's the thing that comes to my mind about it, both that and the IRS one, is that my vision, in Tom Sowell's language, of human existence and economic solutions for the challenge of scarcity economically, and the way to organize society is based on individuals making decisions and bearing the consequence of those decisions for themselves, as opposed to deferring those decisions to some sort of all-knowing, self-anointed central authority. And it's a vision based upon not hoped for ends, but an analysis of historical results and facts from the past, right?
Oh, exactly.
And I think that both the IRS thing and Obamacare are both examples of why the individual focused conservative vision is the superior one.
I don't
because
think
yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, as much as you have the idea of smart, well-informed, well-intentioned, caring individuals making decisions on behalf of society as a whole, as an ideal, in practice, it attracts just as many selfish, bent human beings as any other pursuit would, in addition to those that are drawn to the ability and the power to lord their own decisions over others. Number one, thinking at the IRS, and then secondly, on the Obamacare thing, it's impossible for any one individual or any group of individuals to make decisions for 330 some million people that will accommodate all of their particular needs and wants and desires. It's just impossible.
No question. And listen, I look a whole bunch more cynically at Obamacare. I go back to, days in the financial services industry. I know a fair amount, and I'm putting air quotes around fair because I know a lot about risk management as it relates to insurance and the whole concept of, like pools and the whole bit. This thing has been a lie from the beginning. I used to use the term way back in a different business that someone was guilty of incremental, full, and fair disclosure. And that's what's exactly going on here. The intent from the beginning, there are multiple YouTube videos out there of Obama saying and that would be the so-called progressives, right? Our ultimate objective is a single pay healthcare system. And just real quickly, that means that the government pays. That can be set up one of two ways. The Canadian model is the government contracts with doctors and hospitals and clinics and so forth, all the way to the system in Great Britain where everybody works for the government in those facilities. That has been the objective. Secondly, it is the largest wealth redistribution scheme in the history of the planet. And thirdly, there is the intent along the way to single payer to virtually either bankrupt the insurance companies or bring them under complete government control. So that's why I am so cynical about it, because that is their objective. It always has been, and Gruber said it as much.
Yeah, it's not just a way to attempt to deliver lower cost healthcare to everyone. It is an intentional effort to redesign society.
Because you can't do the former without the latter. You can't deliver low. We all know what's happening to healthcare costs, and they're going to continue to escalate. I mean, look at the premiums, right? He promised in the first year, average family premium reduced by $2,500. It went up over $3,000. Even people who, set aside the lie. If you like your plan, you can keep it. People who did sign up for Obamacare, forced to sign up, a lot of them, a lot higher premiums, a lot higher deductibles. So you can't make everything cheaper for everyone that continues to rise in cost. And there again,